up, and welcome back to OAP063 podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How's your day? How's your week?
How's your life going?
How's your life? I think that's our new thing.
That'll be your
I like
That's
that.
cheesy as fuck.
Then why do you finish it?
Because it's funny.
Exactly.
Or it's not funny. It's your thing. It's whatever.
Oh,
no, it's cool.
okay.
It's all right.
Anyways, so we have lots to talk about.
So what's up, babe?
We have lots to talk about, and this week has been bananas.
Yeah.
Very good. And I had some really interesting appointments this week.
Did you?
Yeah. Do we want to get into it right now, or is there anything else that we want to start off with? Just get into the podcast.
Just get into it.
All right. So, you know how I've talked to you about certain situations where I walk into a room and I'm feeling certain energy, and before I didn't quite understand what I was feeling, like why I got so emotional, and at times I was thinking it was just me going bananas.
Yeah.
And then I realized, that I have some gifts. At least some people had pointed that out, like just being very empathetic.
Yeah.
And
You've said that you're an empath.
And very intuitive.
And I had no idea what the hell you were talking about.
I didn't either.
But you would tell me about these freaking appointments that you would go on, and I'm like, this shit isn't like you would have an appointment that would, and this is back when you were working Legal Shield. This is now that you're doing the notary thing. Like, you will go on an appointment that's supposed to take 30 minutes, and you would be gone for 2 hours. Or your appointment would take 2 hours. Yeah. So it would be a 3-hour appointment driving there, 2 hours there, and driving back. But you would be telling me about the stuff that people are talking to you about, and I'm like, that is fucking insane. Yeah. Like, I can't imagine meeting somebody and then talking to them about the deepest shit in my life. Like, that's insane. But that happens to you all the time. And
it hasn't for a while, though. And I didn't understand what was going on, because a lot of times I would come home and I would be drained. Like, I'd be totally just exhausted or full of energy. It all depends on the appointment.
Yeah. And
so I ran across someone who knows more about this shit than I.
Yeah. And
she's the one who brought it to she's the one who helped me realize what was going on. Because she's also an empath and very intuitive. Yeah. And so she started asking me questions, and I'm like, yeah. How do you know that?
What is an empath for people that are listening that don't know what that is?
So an empath is, I don't know, just to break it down, it's when you can feel other people's energy, emotions.
Yeah. It's like, wow, this guy's a dick.
You know? Well, I'm like with that. You, so obviously not.
Obviously, your empath powers are not that strong.
You're so stupid. Anyways, I had a few individuals who started talking to me about it, and then I started looking it up, and then I started
like you've told me before. Like, sometimes somebody will be going through something, but you don't know them.
No.
But there's just little things like you can kind of get, like, this person is dealing with something.
Yeah. Well, this is crazy. Okay, so just a couple of days ago, I walk into this house, and there's a woman and her daughter. I'm helping her refi her mortgage, and I started feeling very sad. Like, I got really emotional, and I'm like, what in the world? Like, what is this? And I was thinking, maybe it's me. You're stressed out, girl. You're working a lot. You haven't been seeing, the kids as much during the day. Yeah. I've been getting home late. Like, you need to check yourself. But then I'm like, no, that's not. And I'm having this conversation with myself while I'm sitting there with her. And we just started talking. And then I found out that she had lost her husband.
Oh, yeah.
Less than a year ago. And then I started to realize
what had happened.
What was
or why
on.
You were feeling, or what was
happening in that situation.
Yeah.
Why I was feeling,
exactly.
What I was feeling. And then here comes.
They told you everything.
Here comes God's message. I'm like, okay, God, once I heard what was going on, then I'm like, okay, what is it? What am I supposed to share with her? What am I supposed to help her with? Am I here just to listen?
Yeah.
And that's what it was. she hadn't had anyone to talk to. She doesn't really have family.
Yeah.
Her daughter, she's about 21, so she's not very young, but it's not something that she would go to her daughter about, I guess.
Yeah.
And so we started talking, and she's just started pouring her feelings out to me. And she's had to play strong for the family and for everybody else.
Yeah.
And so she was just full of emotion, tears, all of that. But when I walked out of that appointment, she was smiling.
That's great. That's great. Like you tell me about this kind of stuff. And like, I try not to be closed-minded about things.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of stuff is one thing when you tell me about those types of appointments, or like the situation that happened with your sister. You had a situation where your sister had passed away, but you got this feeling that she was kind of around, or something happened,
yes.
but it was like a really strong feeling. Now, I've never felt anything like that. You're my wife, right? So it's not like I'm not going to believe you. You are my wife. For those of you that are listening that didn't know that, Sonja is my wife. But no, like I haven't had those feelings, but you've had those feelings before. And it's not like I'm going to be like, oh, she's full of shit. I'm like, no, she's I live with you every single day. Like, yeah. I mean, so when you tell me these types of things, that's what keeps me open-minded about there may be something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because it's so freaking hard to explain. I just, like, when it comes to religion, I'm not too sure about that. But just the thought of there being something else, or maybe the capability of our brains or something, I don't know.
I don't know what it is either.
Unexplainable.
Yes, and that's what it is. And it hasn't happened to me in a long time. And maybe because I've been just so busy.
Yeah,
but when I go on my appointments, it's just I'm focused on what it is. I mean, I'm building that rapport, but it just hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And when it did, it felt good to know that I was there to serve her. I was there to help her.
Yeah.
And she gave me her phone number, and she's like, I would love to, stay in contact with you. But it happened twice.
That's cool.
Yeah, it happened the other night as well with this couple. And so I think Marcos, he's the one who subscribed on the on YouTube.
Okay. Welcome to the podcast.
Yes. And his wife is very spiritual as well.
Yeah.
And so we hit it off. But anyways, I need to look more into that.
Yeah.
Just what is it? And it's very difficult for me to talk to you about it. Like right now I feel uncomfortable, and I don't know why though. I think it's because I know why. Like, you're open-minded. You used to make fun of me. That's why. I used to joke, and I'm like, I need to get over that, because I do have a great gift.
Okay.
But it's hard for me to voice what I'm feeling. And I think that's why we were having at the beginning of this podcast, by the way, you guys, this is take 3. I was feeling,
not that we really started recording. We just started, and then everything was off.
I was feeling uncomfortable because I knew what I wanted. Again. Yeah, because I knew what I wanted to talk about.
But you were like in a funk.
I was in a funk because it's hard for me to connect with you on that level.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel that you're 100% open, or that you judge me on it. I don't know what it is. I don't know. And maybe it's just something I need to get over.
I think so.
Because I'm lost for words when I talk to you about it.
And this is like, I like joking around. I joke around about everything. I joke around about fucked up shit. I joke around about like regular shit and fucked up shit and everything. Everything's a joke. Like, I don't know. That's just how, and there's times to take things serious or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that might be it. Because the first time, or not the first time, but when you first started speaking Spanish around me, the first thing I did was start messing with you and joking around. And that was the end of you speaking Spanish around me for a while.
Yeah.
Like it took like 8 years for you to start speaking Spanish around me again.
I even started speaking Spanish better.
You would speak Spanish to my family, but you wouldn't even speak it around me. Like if you were talking to my grandmother or somebody, you would go into another room and go talk to her so that I couldn't hear you.
Yes.
But, you know, you would say something and then I'd be like, oh, you know, I would, you know, say something back or just, you know, joke around or make fun. But that's just all it is. It's just making fun. So I think that's why you maybe feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's weird,
and look, and if what you're trying to do with this gift that you have is start a cult with our followers and our listeners, I am down. I am down 100%. And that is something that, you know, that's another announcement that we're going to be making in the future. We're going to work on starting a cult.
Nice. Very nice.
What? You could be our leader. You could be our leader. I could be like a cardinal or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I don't know. I think that I need to pray on that.
Yeah.
Because I want to sit with you and have these conversations because there's guests that I would love to have on and just be able to have the conversations that we have, you know, with each other. Because I know that there are other people that are going through the challenges and just the loneliness, the emptiness of losing a loved one and having to go through that, but having to be that strong person for everyone around you. But inside you're dying and outside you're smiling and you feel like you're dying inside. And when you don't have someone to talk to about it, it can really eat you up.
Well, this is what you don't have to worry about. Like if you want to bring somebody like that on the podcast, or we're going to have a guest that is maybe more spiritual, that's fine. I'm not gonna bring somebody on the podcast to bash them.
Yeah.
But if I have questions, I'm gonna ask some questions.
Yeah. I mean,
you know
that's
what I mean?
Fine. But I'm just saying I need to get over it so that I can be me. Like that, you know, that me in front of you and not stumble over my words. Because I bet you when we watch this, the way that I'm expressing myself is all over the place.
I think you're fine.
Yeah. I don't know. But again, it's just me. I need to get over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
because I love that part of me.
Yeah. No, I've told you before, like you have something special when it comes to that. And like I said, I don't know what it is and it's unexplainable. It's unexplainable. And that is the type of stuff that I'm just like, how? That's crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you tell me those things, I don't understand. You know, because I could never imagine doing that. But it happens to you all the time.
It does. And it feels good though. It's a very warm, peaceful feeling when that happens and I have a message for somebody.
Yeah.
And then when the message is correct and the person is looking at me like,
yeah,
you know, just with gratitude.
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, it blows me away. It really does. I'm like, God just doesn't, he never surprises me.
Well, if any of you guys out there have ever had a situation like that, if you guys have ever had an experience like what we're talking about and you want to give us a call and let us know what happened, you guys can give us a call at 480-912-5128. You guys can call us, let us know what happened. Or if you just want to call and leave a message or ask a question or be on the show, you guys can give us a call at 480-912-5128. You guys can also go to oppositesattractpod.com. You can click on the support the show tab at the top and it'll take you to our Amazon link. Anything that you purchase through that Amazon link doesn't cost you anything more, but it helps out the show. So, and then you can also see all the links for our social media, our Instagram, our YouTube, our Facebook, Spotify, all that stuff. You'll be able to see it there. You can share it. You can subscribe. And on Instagram, we're at 95 followers.
Oh,
I mean, everything is growing, but we are so close. So if
everything is growing.
everything is growing. And if you guys haven't followed us on Instagram, go to @OppositePod, or you can just search Opposites Attract Podcast. And you can search that anywhere on Instagram, Twitter. On Twitter, we got 16 followers. That's like the least. That's the place where we do the least amount of communication, but we still get the messages. So if you send us a message on there, we'll get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, follow us @OppositePod.
So with Trust Inc., we are a nationwide mobile notary agency, and we've been doing a lot of signings for title companies. And
you can go to Trust Inc. at trustinkusa.com for any notary services that you need.
So I've had the most bizarre signings as well.
Yeah.
I mean, bizarre signings. I'm telling you, if they could put me in a garbage bag with just my head sticking out, they would have me do that.
What the hell are you talking about?
Mask, gloves. Like, people were like, you know, is it okay if we sign on your car? Is it okay if we sign? I mean, it's because they're so freaked out about the COVID.
Yeah.
You know, and I am sweating my ass off.
Yeah.
You know, it's just been nuts. And then today we went to the store and okay, so Audrey's been wanting to paint and, you know, just she loves anything having to do with crafts. So I took her to Hobby Lobby. We walk in, we have our masks, but you can see that there's people waiting in line.
Yeah.
I look to the left and there's Marshall's, and that line is practically wrapping around the store. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Are they keeping their distance?
No, they're standing pretty close to each other. But I'm like, is this how we're going to live? I mean, is this how we're going to live?
What, like back to normal? Oh.
And in lines, like, you know, they have certain 10 people allowed or whatever it may be. You know, in Hobby Lobby, I think they said 30.
You know what's weird is we went to Costco the other day, and when it was like a week ago, we went to Costco and they were giving out masks to everybody. Like everybody had to have a mask. You couldn't go into Costco without a mask.
Yeah.
And then we went to Costco yesterday and it's like, screw that policy. We want money, so just come in.
I don't know. Some people are really taking it serious. Some stores. And some are not.
It seems like, well, here in Arizona, we opened up last week. So what's today? The May 22nd, 23rd, something like that. And we opened up like last week. And it seemed like as soon as we opened up, I went to the grocery store to grab a couple things. And when I walked in, nobody was wearing a mask anymore. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? What's going on? You know?
You know what? Congratulations to all the new graduates.
Yeah. I had that written down. I was going to say that.
Oh, really? Yeah. My brother, you know, he graduated from high school. Congratulations, Gabriel. And my poor brother, they did a drive-by graduation.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people. Like, I've seen a lot of those on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's nuts that you spend a big part of your life going through all this stuff, and then this happens, and then that's how we graduate. But you know what? It happened to me.
It did?
Yeah. So last year I did that Greenbelt program and we had a graduation.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
And then this year I did the Black Belt program and I got my certificate from ASU in an email.
Nice. How did you feel?
Yeah. I'm like, yay, I got it.
How did you
You know,
feel?
like, I don't know. Whatever. I don't give a shit. As long I got it. I got it and I'll put it on my resume and that's great. You know?
True
but you know, it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but congratulations to everybody that's graduating. It's weird times right now, but
we'll get over it.
Yeah, we'll get over it and just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what's going on with you? I feel like I haven't talked to you all week.
Oh man, you've been gone all week. The entire week. But no, nothing. Same old same, just working from home, working at home, hanging out with the kids. I've been trying not to get as pissed off because we were doing so we tried to record a couple weeks ago. We tried to record a podcast with the kids. And I was talking to you about this. And we said, what is something that dad is good at? And they said, dad is good at being grumpy. And then they're like, name something that dad needs to work on. And they're like, well, dad's grumpy. I'm like, what the fuck? But, you know, later on, like I started thinking about it. And I'm like, and this is something that I've told you, and I think about it a lot, is that when kids grow up, they're going to look back and they'll think of their time growing up. And there is no lying. There is no hiding. You can lie to them if you want. You can say whatever you want. But at the end of the day, when they grow up, they'll put everything together, especially when they have their own kids. They'll put everything together and they will know if you were full of shit or if you really were about that life. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was thinking to myself, I'm like, if the kids are saying that I'm grumpy, that's not something that I want them to remember me by.
Yeah.
You know? So I was just thinking to myself, you got to fucking chill out. So I've been almost flipping out, but I've been keeping it in check this whole week. And it's been pretty good.
That's good because good. Joey, and so, okay. So Go
ahead. Sorry.
I had a signing about half an hour away from here. Okay. From where we're at, from where we live. And I got there and I noticed that I took the wrong documents. I mean, it's just been crazy. And so they were fine. Like the clients were fine.
Yeah.
But I had to drive home, print out the correct documents and go back. And when I came back in the house and you're like, what happened?
You're back already?
Yeah. And when I told you what happened, you said, I'd be fucking pissed.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, right? I was smiling. I was playing with the dog.
I don't know about smiling.
I was with the dog.
You were just trying to get your stuff and get back
But I wasn't cussing.
No, you weren't.
I wasn't upset. I wasn't showing any stress about the situation. And you noticed it. So I was hoping that I'm rubbing off on you a little bit with that.
No.
No?
No. That's the thing. It's up to me, not you. I got to do it.
But hey, we're a family.
But no, it's true. Yeah. You're a good example.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to be, man, because trust me, I kept that in. But I'm like, nope, you walk into this house, nope. Yeah. You got to deal with it.
No, I don't know what was going on with the kids, but there was something. Like Joey did something. And I was like, what the? All right, come here. Come here, Joey. Let's and I had to chill out. And there was a couple times I'm just like, what are you guys thinking? I think Audrey would, I told Audrey to clean up some stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a pair of glasses on the floor. Mm-hmm. And she wanted to go out and play. And I'm like, did you clean up your room? Did you clean up the playroom? And she's like, yeah, I cleaned it up. So I go up there to check it out. And I'm like, hey, whose glasses are on the floor? What are those glasses doing there? And she's like, oh, and she goes and picks them up and she looks at them. She's like, oh, these aren't mine. I'm like, oh, okay. So she throws them back on the floor.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, what are you doing? Why would you throw them back on the floor? You already had them in your hand. But I didn't flip out too bad.
Yeah.
It was just kind of, it was like a stronger talking to, but I didn't flip. But no, it's been good. It's been good. And I'm going to keep working on it. I'm going to keep it in check. Because, shit, man, we all got stuff to work on.
Yeah. You know what I feel is very important as a parent is to take, like I did today, just to take time with them to learn more about them. Ask them questions that you normally wouldn't ask them and just spend that quality time with them. Because it's hard when you're working and, some of you may be going to school as well, or, you just have so much going on in life that we forget to spend that quality time, not only with the kids, but with each other, to sit down and conversate and just chill the hell out.
Yeah. Like
chill out. And especially with the podcast, because, social media, you're marketing it and you're always on the phone now, always on the phone.
Always.
But it's, and so it's and me too with the business. I mean, I'm guilty 100% of that, but being able just to say, okay, no more.
Yeah, we're done.
No more. Today I had a talk with them and I told them, thank you guys for, giving me, giving me shit. Because as a woman, it can it can take you down. At least me, it can take me down with guilt, just feeling guilty, not being here, as much. And the end of the month with what we do, you're just crazy busy. And so I told them, I'm like, I would like to do something special as a family.
Yeah.
Like, go away, take them somewhere once all this COVID, everything is,
Well, we were talking about maybe we'll go
settled.
camping next week or something. But no, actually, one thing that I've been trying to do, and it might help you guys out there, with you, like you were busy this entire week. I mean, I know nobody wants to keep hearing about how busy we are. We're all busy. Everybody's busy. Everybody's got stuff going on. But you've been running around like crazy. And lately, when I've made dinner, I'll have Audrey do the dishes. And usually she would empty the dishwasher. But Joey's getting bigger. And I'm like, no, Joey, you empty the dishwasher from now on. And Audrey's going to start washing dishes because she's 10 now. And she's getting old enough to start washing and helping. But I had a talk with them. And I've been telling them thank you. I've been telling them thank you, and I've been just letting them know that I appreciate them helping.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And it's been a lot less of a fight. Because when you're like, hey, go wash the dishes. Oh, I don't want to. And if I'm like, hey, can you wash the dishes? Thank you.
That's it.
And then when they're done, I'm like, thank you for washing the dishes.
Yes.
That helps out a lot.
Yeah, instead of barking orders.
Yeah, and I let them know, like, hey, I made dinner. I served everybody dinner. You guys can get the utensils. And then Joey can clean. And what I'm having Joey do is Joey cleans the counters and clears the table and wipes them down while Audrey washes the dishes.
Nice.
And when they're done, I tell Joey, I was like, hey, I appreciate you helping. I was like, it's a big deal. It helps out a lot. And, it.
Hey, isn't that crazy? Okay, because Miguel and I were brought up pretty similar.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of you were brought up pretty similar as well. And what I mean by that is our parents.
They're not thanking you for washing dishes.
No. They barked orders.
Yeah.
And now what I've noticed, because I've been doing that, Adriana, I tell her, we're a team.
Yeah.
This is a team, right? We are a team.
Yep.
And everybody has a role to play. And so when you talk to them like little adults and you come from love, they will, whatever you ask, they will do.
Yeah.
Happy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
instead of saying, Audrey, you better go do this. Audrey, you better go do that. Like, that
well, no, I mean, and a lot of you may see it this way, and we have seen it this way, and we still see it this way, but there's a more effective way of getting the same outcome that you still want. But the way we used to feel and the way we were brought up is like, hey, you got to pitch in. Everybody's got a job.
Yeah.
So it's not thank you for washing the dishes or wiping down the counters. No, you're supposed to do that.
Right.
We bought the food. We cooked the food. We served the food. The least you can do is clean the counters and clean the table and do the dishes.
But that's how we used to talk to them.
Right? But you get the same effect. The dishes get washed. The counters get wiped down. But there's no abrasiveness, or it's just they're happier to do it.
Right.
It's without the conflict and all the whining and all that shit.
But I remember having this conversation with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
A while back. And you're like, fuck no, I'm not going to ask them, like, please. No.
Yeah.
But the more I think
it's fucking
as
growing.
Parents,
it's growing.
yes,
it's what it is, man.
Yes.
You know what? Like, this is something that we've talked about. Like, I've talked to you about this in politics. Like, people sometimes they make a decision on what policy they feel is right, or whoever pays them the most or whatever. I don't know how it works. But a lot of times people feel like, I decided on this and now I can't change my mind. And if you do change your mind, then the other side is going to throw it in your face like, oh, so-and-so used to say this, and now look at them. Now they're saying, Well, how about maybe they see things from a different point of view now.
Yeah.
You know, like regardless of whatever the topic is, whether it's abortion or minimum wage or whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. But people can grow. They can change their mind. They can be presented more information and more evidence that makes them, you know what? I never thought about it that way. Maybe this is a better way to do it. But it's like, oh, if you change your mind, they're a flip-flopper. Mm-hmm. That's not always the case.
Do you feel that the classes that we took, like the parenting class that we took, opened your mind to?
I don't think it's the parent. You know what it is? I'll be straight up. The Jocko books, and it wasn't the kids' books. It was the leadership books. And I think about it. I think about it now. I think about it with the kids. But there was one thing, like Jocko was a Navy SEAL, and a lot of times when people think about the military, they think about it being like super rigid. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, you get orders and you follow through with those orders without question, without fail. You just do what you're told. You shut up and that's it. You know, but that's not always the case. Like, you have to tell people the reason that they're doing things. You have to, so that they understand, and they understand the implications of not getting whatever you need to do done. And that's something that Jocko talked about he talks about, I think, in Extreme Ownership in one of his books. But it's like the opposite of what people normally think. And the same thing goes for losing your temper. Like he was talking about, like, we're the leaders of our family. And this is not a family relationship book that he wrote, but it's the same thing. It's Extreme Ownership. And his second book was A Dichotomy of Leadership. They're both leadership books. And being a parent, you're in a leadership role. You're the leaders of your family. So one thing that they talk about in the book that I've also thought about is leaders don't lose their emotion. They don't lose control of their emotions. You know, especially when shit is going down. When you're getting stressed out and shit is going down, you don't lose control of your emotions, because when something really happens, when you really need to act right away without giving explanation, without giving, just like, hey, I'm saying do this now because I said, they're going to be like, oh shit, something's up.
Yeah.
We better do it. But it's not like, oh, he's just yelling again. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's different. Yeah. So it's just growth. It's all growth.
Growing every day.
Yep. And there was something that I wanted to mention. So last week we were talking about, was it last week? We were talking about how to get ahead in your career, in your job. And one thing that I've noticed throughout my career, it's happened a couple times. It's been a while, but it's happened where, like, years ago, before I ever even met this person, when I started this job, I knew a few people that had already worked there. So I kind of, I wasn't like an outsider, outcast. There was a lot of people that I didn't know, but there was some people that I've worked with before. And I can't remember who it was, but somebody told me something about somebody that worked there. And they're like, oh yeah, there's so-and-so. He's fucking weird, or he's a dick, or fucking whatever. He's an asshole, negative. Whatever. It was a negative comment that they had made about this person.
Yeah.
And automatically I'm thinking to myself, this guy's a fucking dick, And like, I'm already getting a bad taste in my mouth about this person. I haven't spoken a word to that person yet.
See, that's not
cool. And then later on, I worked there for 2 years, and I get to know this person, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. And he seems cool.
Yeah.
And I've had it happen to me time and time and time again. Mm-mm. And that's just one thing that over time I've kind of learned, that no matter what anybody says, you know what, take it into consideration, but don't put too much weight on it. Yeah. Don't put too much weight on it. Make your own determination of who that person is, because it may be different. And you know what? Maybe that person's a dick because the other person's a dick.
Right.
Because I found there's been cases where they're like, oh, so-and-so's an asshole. But if you're cool with them, they don't have a reason to be an asshole with you.
Yeah. See, I don't like that. Like, this person was comfortable enough to tell you
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. Yeah, so he's a fucking weirdo or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just judging people, and in one case, like, man, everything that I've needed or asked for, that other person has been there.
Let me ask you a question.
I am not gonna keep like, oh, so and so's an asshole, or the person that so and so calls an asshole, or the one that everybody is like, no, he's cool with me, and I've never had a problem.
Right. But how do you feel now about the other person who gave you that information?
You know what? Yeah. It kind of puts a stain
a little
bit on that person.
Because if someone is talking to me about somebody else, now I wonder if they're doing the same.
Yeah. Yeah, you always kind of think about that.
Yeah.
And I don't give a shit.
I just don't know
if people talk about me.
I'm not open to those conversations.
But yeah, just make your own determination.
Yeah, for sure.
Before you start judging.
Yep.
And you know, and sometimes I do it myself. Like, I've done it where nobody's told me anything, but I meet somebody, I'm like, this person's a fucking dick. And then you get to know them, and a couple weeks later, you're like, you know what? I don't know what it was that made me think he was a dick. Or you know what? Maybe I get why I thought he was a dick, but he's not a dick. He's fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some people are just straight up dicks. It's just what it is. But I've been wrong.
Yeah.
You know, so it's hard to judge people.
See, but people are dicks because there's reasons. There's not reasons. There's things that have happened to them.
Yeah. It's kind of like what we were talking about before. It's just maybe their life experiences or how they grew up or shit that's happened to them. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. The way I see this, I'm like, God, I can't judge anybody.
I can judge a lot of people.
You can't. Oh,
I was judging at Costco when I was walking.
Oh, I heard you. And that drives
me
so bananas with you. You know that?
You know what I do? I put my mask on and I'm talking shit to everybody when I got I'm like, you fucking dumbass.
See,
what are you doing? When you got your mask on and it's not covering your nose, some people have it and it's on their chin. The mask is on their chin. It's like protecting.
I've seen that.
They're protecting their beard. I'm like, what the? And you know what? Wear a mask. Don't wear a mask. I don't give a fuck. But if you're gonna fucking wear a mask, put the damn mask on. If not, just take it off.
Who cares?
I know. I don't give a shit. It's just fucking dumb. Like, I'm just looking at you like you're an idiot.
Yeah, but you're talking about it, and I'm thinking to myself, you are, but whatever. I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, who cares? Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, let it go and let's go shopping.
Yep. But anyway, so this week I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about the coronavirus. It was one of Joe Rogan's podcasts from a couple weeks ago. He had this guy that's a friend of his that had the coronavirus, and he was saying this is something that they were talking about. Neither one of them are doctors. You guys can look it up for yourself, but they were talking about how when somebody gets it and they go to the hospital, like if you get it, you have to quarantine for like 14 days after you don't have any more symptoms. Right? But they're not doing that in the hospital. Like, they're not keeping you in the hospital for 14 days after you don't show any more symptoms. Once you start recovering, he's like, they don't test you again. Like, once they see that you're getting better and you're not going to die, they don't test you for the coronavirus again to see if you still have it. They release you. And you have to go self-quarantine at home. Because it would be way too expensive to keep people in the hospital for 14 more days when they're not even sick, to quarantine them at the hospital. So a lot of these people, they're still sick and they send them right back out.
They send them home.
Yeah,
but they do get tested. They do get tested again.
Initially. Yeah.
No. Well, I know someone who she had to get tested again just to make sure that it was out of her system.
Yeah. I know that
one here in Gilbert.
Yeah.
Yeah, Deb.
Okay. Well, I know at our work I think you have to get tested.
Different.
I can't remember where it was. Like, you had to get 3 negatives in a row before. Oh, it was somebody on a cruise ship. They had to get 3 negatives in a row before they let them off the cruise ship.
Yeah.
Or some shit. Or out of quarantine.
I'm so sad. We were supposed to go on my first cruise because you've been on a cruise.
Yeah.
Now I'm freaked out to go on a cruise. Hearing everything that's going on, I'm like, am I ever going to go on a cruise? You know, like, do I ever want to? Do I want to? Ask me that, because I'm not even sure if I want to do that now.
I want to go on a cruise to go see the Northern Lights.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That'd be really cool.
That'd be nice. Yes.
Yep.
So, what's up, babe?
So we're doing all kinds of work to the house right now, to the backyard.
Feels so good, doesn't it? Doesn't it feel good?
No, we're hooking up the backyard because we're spending so much time at home, and we've kind of decided that we're gonna give this thing, like, for you guys out there, do whatever's right for you. I was ready to get back to jiu-jitsu.
Oh, you so were.
I was ready. Like, that day, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going back now. But at the same time, it's like, what's another month? What's another month?
Yeah.
You know, it'll just take me 1 month longer to get my black belt eventually, you know?
You're black
in jiu-jitsu.
Another month?
I'm saying at the end of it.
I'm like, saying, wait, I'm not. You're going from white to black, dude. Like,
you're gonna get your black belt in 1 month. Yeah, I got to pay a lot of money.
Yeah,
and, no, it doesn't work that way. You got to get the shit beat out of you for 10 years to get a black belt. No, I'm just saying it's gonna take me now 10 years in 1 month or whatever, however long. It'll just add on another month, so no big deal. But like, we were just kind of thinking, like, hey, we have the ability to ride this thing out for another month, and everybody's opening back up, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I think we'll be fine, but nobody knows. Nobody's sure.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, our son, Joey, like, when he gets a cough bad. Yeah. And that's something that I've thought about too. And I was like, you know what? If we were to get sick or get him sick, and then he has trouble because he gets really bad coughs when he does. That kid, he's a healthy kid, but when he gets sick and he gets a cough, for some reason he gets the coughs bad.
You know what? I need to make him a doctor's appointment for that. Because you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, he does. Maybe it's asthma. I know asthma runs in your family.
Yeah.
Your mom. You have it as well, but very slight.
Like, I've never taken anything for it. I just get out of breath. And then it goes away. Or I'll be wheezing for a little bit, and then it goes away. So.
Yeah, that's true. Because you're right.
Yeah, but we've been doing all kinds of work to the backyard and putting up lights and shit and electrical power and getting it all hooked up.
I'm excited for that.
Maybe we'll post some pictures when we're all done on our social media.
Yes.
You guys can follow it.
What's going on with the? Do you want to talk about the our news?
So we got a little bit of an announcement to make that. So a few weeks ago or a couple months ago, there was a podcast that started up, and it's called Opposites Attract. Mm-hmm. So, you know, when we first started our podcast, there had been other Opposites Attract podcasts. Like, I did the research for the name of our podcast, and I thought it was a good name for us. And there had been other Opposites Attract in the past, but when I did the research, I could see that they were pretty much dead. Like, they're not posting anymore.
Yeah. They weren't consistent.
They weren't consistent. They weren't doing the thing. And then since we've started, there's been a couple other Opposites Attract podcasts, and I'm just watching like, yeah, okay, let's see what happens. Because this is, like I've told you before, we're just going to outlast everybody. This is going to be the Opposites Attract podcast. And like I said, a couple months ago, a new podcast started. So I get texts from my friend Stevens.
Oh, was it Stevens? I thought it was your brother.
Like Father, Like Daughter podcast. And my brother my brother George also sends me a text. He's like, bro, check this out. You know, I'm going to start talking shit and lighting him up on social media. No, I'm just kidding. But but he's like, hey, check it out. And actually, I was talking to George yesterday.
Yeah.
Was it yesterday? Yeah. A couple days ago. It was his birthday. Yeah. It was my brother's birthday. Happy birthday, George. We love you. And my sister's birthday was a couple weeks ago. So happy birthday to Christy too.
Happy birthday, guys.
But anyway, so I was talking to my brother, and he's like, I wanted to hate on them so bad. He's like, but then I started listening to the podcast. He's like, and they're pretty good. They're nice. And, you know, me checking out the competition, I started listening to their podcast, and I was like, I like their podcast. Like, they're cool. And it turns out they are professional dancers from, they were on an NBC show called World of Dance.
So are you doing a plug for them so our listeners can now listen to them? Is that what you're doing? That's what you're pretty much doing.
Pretty much. You guys can check out the other Opposites Attract podcast if you want. No, but I mean, kind of like us. They're a little different. They're younger. They're professional dancers. And so I was thinking to myself, like, they're somewhat like, they're like celebrities and they're going to have a following and their podcast can take off really fast. And I don't want them to force us to change our name. Right. So I was like, what do I have to do to protect ourselves? I don't care if they have the name. I just don't want them to force us to change our name. So I started looking into trademarks and that's what we need to protect the podcast. So I actually hired the same attorney as Paris Hilton to trademark our podcast. So right now
we are legit.
Yeah. So right now we're in the process of trademarking Opposites Attract podcast. And you know what?
So it's already been filed.
Yeah. It's filed. It's already out there. Yes. But you know what? It's crazy because we were talking about a few episodes ago about my dad and his entrepreneurial spirit and where I got it from. And just my thought of taking it to the next level, you know, like actually making this thing legit. And it freaking sucks dropping money on an attorney. I mean, because it's not cheap. Yeah. Especially when you hire Paris Hilton's attorney. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it gives me a good feeling like, you know what? This is fucking legit. Like this, there is no fucking around.
Yeah.
Like this is a thing. We're doing it. There is, you know what I mean?
I love the fact that you're very passionate about this. Like this is your dream. And this is something that I know, like I haven't gotten the vision. I don't see it the way you see it yet. But the more you see it and the more you believe, I believe.
Yeah.
You know, because it would be cool if this is all we did for a living and traveling the world and having
and helping people
guests and that's my thing is that, you know, I can see myself, you know, because before you decided about because this was your idea. The podcast was your idea.
Yeah.
But before you made that decision, I was already thinking of doing something similar, but a spiritual podcast.
Yeah.
You know, something where I can have guests that have had near-death experiences or empaths or people that, you know, just people that I connect with.
You know what? You know what would be funny?
Hold on.
Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
And then we started our podcast and I listened to it and I'm like, Sonja, you can't do that spiritual podcast anymore.
Why? Why not?
You know, because I feel that people would not respect me on that level because I'm so open and honest. Like we talk about sex, we talk about everything on this thing.
So what though?
And
so what? Just because you talk about sex and dildos, you can't talk about spirituality
and God? Like, I don't know. And I was just talking to someone about this.
You won't be using those sound effects on your spiritual podcast.
But you know, just you know, if you were to go to our podcast, Opposites Attract, and then if I have this other platform, a spiritual platform, they're like, oh my God, this is the same girl that brought her vibrator on the podcast on Opposites Attract. Like, for real?
Yeah.
You know, so it's now like I don't know. But that is something that I would love to do because it's so organic and it's so the conversations that I have with individuals, I
think it would be great.
Deep and so real, and just I think that would help so many people to learn more about themselves and how to connect and how to realize that everything you're looking for you can find within.
Well, if you want to start another podcast, I mean, I think we're breaking up here already. We just filed for our freaking trademark, and now Sonja's off doing another podcast.
But I'm just saying,
I'm just saying, if you want to,
something that I started doing a lot of Facebook Lives because I was seeing if I could do it. And I realized that because a lot of the Facebook lives that I did, it was because I felt that God was telling me to share this with the world, and Facebook was my platform. Yeah. And I got a lot of good responses from every one of those Facebook lives that I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's my passion. That's where my fuel comes from.
The spiritual. Like if you had a spiritual podcast, you know what? So I'm thinking, if this is what we did for a living, I would think like this isn't going to be the only podcast that we would do. Like you could have your spiritual podcast, and then I could have a podcast talking with my dipshit friends about dumb stuff, just fucking, our kid brains that we joke about dumb shit all the time, or whatever. Yeah. Shit that I don't really talk to you about, but, our friends, we talk whatever. But
no, I get it.
Just like the spiritual podcast for you, Yes. But no, that's something that we could do in the future.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the the trademark and everything. So what we're gonna do is maybe we'll reach out to them, and who knows, we may have them on the podcast and we can talk to them a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I've listened to their episodes and they're good. I like them. So we're excited about that.
Raider.
What?
Freaking doing plugs for another Opposites
No.
Attract.
Hey, we can do plugs because this is our deal and it's not going anywhere.
No, that was super cool though when you told me about, I'm going to start, I'm going to look into this, and I mean, I'm for you 100%, that. Like I know that whatever you put your mind to, it's going to happen. So when you told me how much we needed to drop, I'm like, well, let's do it. Because I don't see this podcast going anywhere. I just see it growing. I mean, once we realize what we need to do to grow this thing, because we're new to this, and, to get the ball rolling, I mean, I think you did great. You researched everything. The podcast sounds amazing, but to take it to the next level, like, I don't know what the hell to do, but it's just something that we need to learn.
Yeah. No, I'm looking into all kinds of stuff, and we've talked about it on here before. So yeah, big things coming. And that's not the only thing. We got other stuff too. So as it comes, we'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
So
congratulations to us. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That really is. We're taking this serious and moving on.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to selling to making shirts and selling shirts and
that'll be cool.
I think that'll be a whole lot of fun.
Yep. So there's been a new Amazon phishing scam for those of you guys out there, because whenever something's going down, bad people find opportunities to take advantage of other people. And right now Amazon, there's a phishing scam that they're sending I think it comes through text, email, and phone calls. And a lot of times it's something about it, like the scam, like they're telling you that somebody got their information. So they're saying that their information has been breached or something. And this is Amazon contacting them to make sure, like, did you order a package? And because the reason that they're using this is because of the coronavirus, because so many people are staying home and so many people are ordering packages and getting everything sent to their house. A lot of you out there listening are probably expecting a package from Amazon right now. Like we just got some stuff delivered this week and we're about to order more shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So things are going to come. And if you get a text saying something about, hey, make sure that you check your address or whatever, and you click the link, and if it's on your computer and they install they can install malware, they'll get your information one way or another. Anyway, if the best thing for you guys to do is, if you get an email, if you get a call, if you get a text, do not open it. Do not respond to it. Don't do anything with it. If you have any questions, go directly into the Amazon app and contact customer service and be like, hey, is there any issues with my package? Check the tracking on your package. Make sure that it's still being delivered, that it's on time or whatever, but do not respond, because Amazon will not contact you about that kind of stuff.
That's interesting. How did you hear about this?
I don't know. I saw it on the news or something that I was listening to, but there's a lot of people that are getting scammed through these, phishing scams.
Yeah, and you hear about all these packages that are disappearing.
Yeah. So that kind of sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's why everyone got those new doorbells that have the cameras, but then you hear that people can hack those. And
there's another thing that I saw where people have like lock boxes where it's just for packages. Like for people that drop off packages, you can drop it into a lock box outside the house and you can't get it out unless you have the key. So.
Well, that's a thought.
Yeah, that might be something.
Yeah, especially with, everything we're going to order.
Mm-hmm.
My pearls should be coming in soon, huh?
No, they're not coming yet because I haven't ordered them yet.
Are you gonna get me?
I gotta
get me a vacuum cleaner before you get my I'm
gonna get you a vacuum.
Pearls back. Hey, you're getting old when you're excited for a new vacuum cleaner.
What was I excited about the other day?
A fucking grill. Your grill.
No, I wasn't excited about my grill.
No, I got
a new grate for my grill.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, I can't wait.
Excited.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, dude, we're getting fucking old.
You're so funny. You've been saying that lately because we drank. Okay, so last night we're like,
was it last night? Yeah,
when we drank coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're so funny because he's leaning against the counter, and he's like, man, we're getting fucking old.
It's like, wow, this coffee is good. Fucking old ass people. How did this happen?
Oh, I don't feel old. I don't feel old. What's going on?
Our fucking hourglass got stuck. This podcast is gonna last forever.
We're not gonna know when to stop.
Well. No, we're good. But you know what? You were talking about earlier how your goal or how you were thinking about doing something or like starting a podcast or like your Facebook lives or whatever. And the main reason is because you want to help people. Like that's something that you're passionate about.
Yes.
And I've told you before, like I don't think you understand the power sometimes that you have no idea who's listening. You have no idea what they're going through. And sometimes we joke around and that's what it is. Like it's just a joke. But for some people, they're going through something and that's all they want. They just want to laugh a little bit or they want to hear something, or you never know who you're reaching out to, who you're talking to and who you've affected.
That's true.
So, and every once in a while we'll hear something. And you know what? I wanted to give a shout out to Ago, a guy that I used to work with him years back at MD. We worked for a couple years together, but he's always following the podcast and commenting and saying stuff. So thank you for following, and we appreciate it. But if any of you have ever had, if you have a favorite moment, or if this podcast has helped you in any way, if you guys want to give us a call so that Sonja can understand, because I've heard it before on other podcasts where like The Fighter and the Kid. That's a podcast that I listen to all the time. And they just joke around for the most part. But there's people that have written in and they're like, dude, I had cancer and I was in the hospital going through therapy and all this other stuff. And when I was in my darkest moments, you guys helped me. Like, you guys made me laugh.
See, I think if I got, and that's the thing, like, okay, letters.
And the thing is that it's not a deep conversation that they're having. It's not anything they're fucking making fart and dick jokes.
Yeah.
But when somebody's in a dark place, that's what they need. They just want to laugh and giggle a little bit. And I'll tell you the most powerful place that I've ever seen that, and you know what I'm talking about, is my grandfather. My grandfather, man, like he was in his 80s, right before he passed away. Sorry, Mom. I know she's probably listening to this, and it's tough it's tough to think about. But man, the power of comedy. Like, he had this comedian that he really enjoyed, and I don't know what made me think of it. I was like, you know what? That'd be kind of cool if he could listen to the comedian. This is in his last days of his life. And I took a radio into the room and I just sat there with him and we listened to his favorite comedian on tape. And, he's just laying in the bed and I can hear him giggling.
Aww.
That is fucking powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful, man. But you listen to the jokes and they're, I mean, like I said, they're fucking shit jokes and dick jokes and, just jokes that are inappropriate that you would think like, oh, that's fucking rude or, whatever. But man, it's powerful.
Yeah. I need to let that sink in more. I really do, because when I get individuals who call me or send me a text and say, hey, you know what? You guys have a really good podcast. And it does. It feels good. It feels good. But it's the whole, well, how, like you said, how am I helping them? Okay, the podcast is good, but how am I helping them?
Yeah.
With Trust Inc. You've been getting
a lot of positive reviews.
Yes.
It's freaking awesome.
That feels so good. And
yeah.
I'm getting them through emails. We have 5-star reviews on Google. Like, it feels really good to know that, like I am helping people. I'm making a difference. The signing I had yesterday.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, this gentleman, I walk in and he's smiling, but he's like, you are the third notary that we've had, on this loan. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And so he shared his experience, and I'm like, how in the world can someone be just so rude or irresponsible and just, anyways. And he was just excited that
he got somebody good.
Yeah.
They've been abused. They were abused.
I'm like, how can these notaries or these companies allow these types of individuals to work for them?
When you walked in, was like that music playing from like the sad dog commercials, like they've been abused, and then you walk in,
yeah,
like you were there to save them.
I left and they were so happy and excited, and I wasn't expecting to get an email. Like, he sent me a text saying, just letting me know that I was a fresh, what did he say?
Breath of fresh air.
Yes. And that, he had sent, him and his wife had sent an email to their loan officer, and it just felt really good, and I take pride in what I do.
And that's the thing. If you take pride in what you do, no matter what it is, it gets noticed. It gets noticed. It doesn't matter what it is. If you become the best at it, you'll be all right. You'll be fine.
And I think that's what tears like, for instance, real estate. Like, one of my friends was like, I am looking at becoming a real estate agent. This was a while back, not right now. And she's like, but there's so many out there. And I felt the same way, because many people have tried to get me into real estate. But I'm like, there's so many out there. There's like so many out there. But you have to realize, there's so many out there, but only 20% actually.
It's the 80-20 rule.
Yeah. Are doing it.
20% of the people are selling 80% of the houses.
And doing it well.
Probably, yep.
So even though there's a shitload of real estate agents,
there's space for good ones.
Yes, exactly.
There's always space for good people to do whatever.
In any industry, though.
Yep, exactly. That's good.
You
So if any of you guys out there have had, if this podcast has helped you in any way and you guys want to let us know, you guys can give us a call at 480-912-5128. And, before we get out of here, there's something that I wanted to talk about real quick. Most of you guys are going to hear this during Memorial Day. We all have Monday off because Monday is Memorial Day. And usually everybody, like, that's kind of like the sign of summer starting, and people are barbecuing and, having some drinks and jumping in the pool and having a good time. And
most people have the day off.
Yeah, most people have the day off. And maybe this year's a little bit different because of the coronavirus or whatever. But most people are still getting the day off, and we still get to celebrate. But one thing that you don't want to, like, the whole reason for the holiday, Memorial Day, is a day to remember people that sacrificed everything. People that were in the military, that sacrificed everything so that we could have what we have here today. And Sonja and I, we went to a fundraiser, an event, and I wanted to read a letter real quick. And this might go bad by reading out loud, but I read it a couple of times, so we'll see how it goes. But this letter is from a guy named Marc Lee. He was a Navy SEAL, and we've talked about Jocko a lot on this podcast. But this guy Marc Lee was one of the people on his team, and Jocko said that there is not many people that he's ever met like him. He said that if he had to describe this guy, he said that he was a saint. Like, that was his personality. And this dude was a warrior. He was ferocious on the battlefield, but he also had a giant heart. Like he saw everything. And the reason that he fought was because he believed in the good that they were doing. And you can hear that through this letter. And this is called his name was Marc Lee. This was his last letter. And this was his last letter home. So it says, glory is something that some men chase and others find themselves stumbling upon, not expecting it to find them. Either way, it is a noble gesture that one finds bestowed upon them. My question is, when does glory fade away and become a wrongful crusade or an unjustified means by which consumes one completely? I have seen war. I have seen death, the sorrow that encompasses your entire being as a man breathes his last. I can only pray and hope that none of you will ever have to experience some of these things I have seen and felt here. I have felt fear and I have felt adrenaline pump through my veins, making me seem invincible. I will be honest and say that some of the things that I have seen here are unjustified and uncalled for. However, for the most part, we are helping this country. It will take more years than most expect, but we will get Iraq to stand on its own feet. Most of what I have seen here, I will never really mention or speak of due to the nature of those involved. I have seen a man give his food to a hungry child and family. Today, I saw a hospital that most of us would refuse to receive treatment from. The filth and smell would allow most of us to not be able to stand to enter, let alone get medicine from. However, you will be relieved to know that the coalition forces have started to provide security and supply medicine and equipment to help aid in the cause. I have seen amazing things happen here. However, I have seen the sad part of war too. I have seen the morals of a man who cares nothing of human life. I have seen hate towards a nation's people who has never committed a wrong, except being born of a third world, ill-educated and ignorant to Western civilization. It is not everyone who feels that this way, only a select few, but it brings questions to mind. Is it okay for one to consider themselves superior to another race? Surprisingly, we are not stranger to this sort of attitude, meaning that in our own country, we discriminate against someone for what nationality they are, their education level, their social status. We distinguish our role models as multimillionaire sports heroes or talented actors and actresses who complain about not getting millions of dollars more than they are currently getting paid. Our country is a great country. Don't get me wrong on this. Otherwise, none of us would be living there. My point of this is, how can we come over here and help a less fortunate country without holding contempt or hate towards them if we cannot do it in our own country? I try to do my part over here, but the truth is, over there, United States, I do nothing but take. Ask yourself, when was the last time you donated clothes that you hadn't worn out? When was the last time you paid for a random stranger's cup of coffee, meal, or maybe even a tank of gas? When was the last time you helped a person with groceries into or out of their car? Think to yourself and wonder what it would feel like if when the bill for the meal came and you were told it was already paid for. More random acts of kindness like this would change our country and our reputation as a country. It is not unknown to most of us that the rest of the world look at us with doubt towards our humanity and morals. I am not here to preach or say, look at me, because I am just as at fault as the next person. I find being here makes me realize the great country we have and the obligation we have to keep it that way. The 4th has just come and gone, and I received many emails thanking me for helping keep America great and free. I take no credit for the career path I have chosen. I can only give it to those who are reading this, because each one of you has contributed to me and who I am. However, what I do over here is only a small % of what keeps our country great. I think the truth to our greatness is each other. Purity, morals, and kindness passed down to each generation through example. So to all my friends and family, do me a favor and pass on the kindness, the love, the precious gift of human life to each other, so that when your children come into contact with a great conflict like what we are faced with here in Iraq, they are people of humanity, people of pure motives, of compassion. This is our real part to keep America free. Happy 4th. Love you. Marc Lee. P.S. Halfway through the deployment, I can't wait to see all of your faces.
No. That's awesome.
And he is somebody that gave his life protecting his team. Like, he literally gave his life protecting his team.
I mean, that sums up what life's all about.
And when we went to, I mean, we were fortunate enough that we got to meet Jocko at this. We also met Mark's mom at the fundraiser. And she was, I mean, she told...
Wasn't that letter written to her?
Yeah. Yeah, it was written to her and to his friends. And, yeah, he was killed in combat, not too long after that letter. But that is what Memorial Day is about. It's about remembering those people. I was in the military. I was never in combat. I never even left the United States. And I would never pretend to, any of that. My hat goes off to anybody that, the combat veterans that are out there, and to those people that have sacrificed everything. So when we're all out there barbecuing, and you know what? That is why they gave their life. They gave their life so that we could have this. Yep. So enjoy it. Enjoy it. Have a great time. But take a second to think about the people that sacrificed everything so that we can have a great country that we have here. Because as bad, we were just talking about the court system and how shit's fucked up and everything can be better. But guess what? It's still pretty fucking good here because of people like that. So we got to remember why we have what we have, and they're a giant part of it. And the way that you also make sure that we're doing our part is by living our lives, to their fullest potential and helping each other out. And that is one thing that Marc Lee and that they've kind of turned into kind of like a mantra for their nonprofit, their charity it's called Leave Your Mark, after Marc Lee. Leave your mark. Do something. Buy somebody a coffee. Pay for somebody's groceries. Pay for somebody's meal. Help somebody whenever you can. Leave your mark.
Right. Before, and I know, when we lived in the in Phoenix, there was a lot of homeless.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you hear the people judge. They're at the corner, they look healthy. Why aren't they working? Yeah. And every time there is a lot of times if there's someone at, at the corner asking for money or asking for food, whatever it is, I'll give them money. Yeah. And today was one of those days, and Audrey you can see, she looks at me and she just smiles.
Yeah.
And so
we're going to do it. We're going to do it. I've been thinking about it and I forgot, but we're going to go out and do some stuff. Yeah. So make sure you guys have a great Memorial Day. I hope you guys all enjoy yourselves. And we're excited. We're excited for the weekend, and take a little time to think about what we have and why we have it. So with that, thank you guys for being with us. Thank you for listening. Thank you, and welcome to all the new listeners. And we will talk to you guys next week.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye.